I am your host, Leah Dunlap, and you are listening to the Oracle on Purpose podcast, where we help intentional leaders clarify their purpose and next steps to create a work and life of significance.
Hey everyone, it is Leah Dunlap, Oracle on Purpose, and I'm wondering, what do celebrations, mocktails, and the thief of joy have in common? So today, it's not even noon, and I've already attended an incredible celebration with a mastermind group that I belong to. A masquerade celebration where we were wearing masks and having mocktails and celebrating the success of the members in the group. And during the call, something came up and I remember thinking, there's this phrase I like to say. So someone, while we were celebrating, was actually acknowledging herself for not being in comparison, but being in our own celebration. And I know that this is something you've probably heard me say before, if you've been watching me for even a minute, which is, to compare yourself. So comparison is the thief of joy. And what it does is it robs us of our own celebration. Now, here's the thing. What if I've had it all wrong? What if you've had that all wrong? What if celebrating someone else's success can actually be the inspiration you need to have similar or your own unique form of success? What if celebrating what you see around you that is working gives you fuel to continue striving to reach your own brand of success? Maybe not exactly what someone else has, right? What they've achieved, but what you see and what they've achieved that you desire, maybe it can be an inspiration for you to move toward that thing for yourself. What if we turn that thought, the phrase I'm guilty of sharing more often than not, that comparison is the thief of joy, if we were to mix it up and say comparison can be the fuel that lights your own fire. Looking at what you see outside of you that you desire, that you may or may not have yet, how can you use that to fuel your own actions to achieve the same or perhaps even better results? So that's what it got me thinking about when I came off that call. It was really amazing. People have done incredible things in that group. I'm very proud of everyone, and I'm proud of myself for participating. And it's okay to do that. Okay, hear that. Proud of myself and proud of everyone else. Whatever their version of success looks like, I'm proud that they're stepping into their own version of that and seeing their own transformations happen. And, we just started the Purpose and Prosperity Accelerator Mastermind that I'm running. And we've already seen a few people have some crazy, wildly good successes just in claiming what they want, right? So we've had someone who is part of the group who had her business kind of shut off for a bit during the last few months and was, working her way through figuring that out. And when she joined the accelerator and she was working on the prep work, she saw this huge influx of new clients come in to the point that she had said that she basically booked her calendar out before we even started. And another participant who had been, has a really huge vision for what she wants to do, not only in the accelerator in our 90 days, but just in the world. And a huge piece of that puzzle literally fell into her lap the day after our first mastermind. And others are starting to kind of come to a sense, even in themselves, kind of on that mental aspect, right? So the mindset piece of seeing possibility differently than they had before. And every one of them, to a T, deserves to feel celebrated for those successes. And I want to share that with you too, right? I also saw a post this morning. This one really got me. Maybe this is what's really started this whole conversation in my own head. Someone was mentioning that they didn't think it was right. I don't want to pull up the actual post because that's not the point. But in general, I'm just paraphrasing here that to her, that people that celebrate and share their financial success or their wealth or their material expressions of joy in the world with others, like I'm assuming here in this phrase, like on Facebook, that's not what God, this is their words, like this, that's not what God wants from us. That's not what they want, that it's not spiritually aligned to celebrate these things. And I'm just going to say, I don't think that's true. I'm going to say right now, I don't think that's true. It doesn't make sense to me. Here's why. It just doesn't make sense. Okay. So let's speak from like a practical standpoint. It does not make sense. Why? Because if we don't celebrate our wealth, our abundance, what we have in this physical world, guess what? This is the physical world we all live in. And even if, whatever your version of, and I'm not, again, not pointing any particular religious genre out, it's simply that I can't, just logically understand why a spiritual source would want you to suffer physically in the physical world which you live, right? So there's this weird thing about that to me, which says that this person's falling into this trap of they think it's bragging, they think it's audacious, they think it's there was another word they use, I can't think of it right now, but that they're comparing these individuals who are claiming, celebrating, sharing their success in the physical world to the idea that that's not pious. It's not spiritual. And to me, again, just from the balancing of the scales, does not make sense. And it also then, even beyond just knowing that it doesn't really make sense, like if you just logically look at it, doesn't make sense. So in this theory, right, then God wants all good things for you except the material. What? Why? Why would that make sense? So the piece of this, though, in regards to the comparison, is that what I saw in that post was a person who is comparing themselves, their own material wealth, abundance, or lack thereof, to people she, I think it was a she, is seeing in her sphere who are celebrating. And so instead of celebrating with them, instead of cheering them on, instead of really embracing how magnificent life can be on all fronts, spiritual, right, emotional, physical, this person is saying that that's not okay. But if you say that's not okay, then you're also saying that's not for me, right? That's the signal you're sending. And I wonder, I don't know this person personally, so this is just an example, but it does get me wondering and curious, how is that person's wealth, abundance, material environment appearing to them? How are they happy with it? If they're not, and what they're seeing in other people's celebrations is a sense of lack in themselves, that to me is the piece that can be overcome. And then how do you do that? Some of you might be asking. There's a great line that I've shared before from Terry Cole Whitaker. If you don't know who she is, go check her out. One of the books that she wrote is What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. It's one of my favorites of hers. And I think I got this from her when I saw her live over 20 years ago. But it stuck with me. And it's this. She would say that when she saw someone celebrating something they had or something they were doing, that she really desired, right? That kicked off that feeling in her, maybe a little jealousy, maybe a little bit of that comparison thing. She would switch it in her mind. Instead of saying, oh, they're bragging, or, they get everything, or any of those other thoughts that might come up, she would switch it. And she would say, oh yeah, that's for me. That's for me. And in the Master Creators group, the Purpose and Prosperity Accelerator group, right now, we've been using a similar phrase. And I think it kind of ties into that, which is when something good happens, we celebrate it to acknowledge that we received it, right? Message received from the universe. And then we double down on that by saying, yes, I am grateful for this. Yes, please, more please of this. My core work is to help people with alignment to their unique life purpose, alignment to the purpose because it is delivering something that is unique to them that the universe is looking to create, which is why it created them specifically the way they are. So the idea of aligning those desires in a way that says, yes, I'm getting closer to that target. It is a vibrational shift. I want you to hear that. It is a vibrational shift. It's shifting your mind from wanting to receiving to gratitude and then expectation of a continued train of success in that area. So I think that's why we have it within us. We have an opportunity when something feels like you're sensing you're starting to compare yourself to someone else's success or someone else's achievement. It's an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to ask yourself that other question. Is this for me? Is this for me too? And if it is, then claim it. Celebrate with that person. Celebrate that it's possible, and then claim it for yourself as possible too, with the expectation that it will be so. With the expectation that it will be so. So what if instead of letting comparison be the thief of your joy, you decide to change it up and let comparison be the fuel that lights your fire of inspiration and success? Think about it. I'm Leah Dunlap, Oracle on Purpose. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time on the other side. Remember, you are here on purpose.
Thanks for tuning in to the Oracle on Purpose show. If you found value in this episode, we'd appreciate you leaving a comment. Also, you can subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet. If you'd like to get clear on your highest vision and next steps, go to oracleonpurpose.com. See you next week.